All right, so the first story at the top of antiwar.com today, 3 U.S. troops killed in a drone attack in Jordan. So 3 American troops were killed by an overnight drone attack in northeastern Jordan, and this drone attack happened Saturday night into Sunday. And these are the first Americans to die by enemy fire in the region since President Biden threw the U.S.'s weight behind the Israeli massacre of Palestinians in Gaza. And this is something I've been warning about for a while, with the sheer number of attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria. You know, it's just a matter of time before an American died. Now, this happened in Jordan, and it was right over the border. It's right near the Syrian border. This base that was targeted is called Tower 22, and right across the border is the Al Tanf garrison, which is one of the main U.S. bases in Syria. And this base, Tower 22, supports the U.S. occupation of eastern Syria. So on top of the 3 U.S. troops that were killed, over 30 were wounded, and the Pentagon has indicated that number could go up. So since mid-October, U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria have come under attack over 150 times in response to U.S. support for the Israeli slaughter in Gaza. This attack in Jordan appears to be the first time that this base, Tower 22, was targeted. President Biden released a statement blaming the attack on Iran-backed militant groups, referring to Shia militias that operate in Iraq and Syria. Later in the day, Biden said the U.S. shall respond, but he did not specify how. So there's some confusion about this. A lot of people think that this actually happened in Syria because a spokesman for the Jordanian government said initially, no, this didn't happen on our territory. It happened across the border, targeted the Al Tanf base. But then later in the day, Jordan released a statement that did say it happened on their side of the border. The statement, this was put out by the Jordan News Agency, and it's been picked up by other places since. It says, quote, Jordan condemned the terrorist attack that targeted an outpost on the border with Syria, killing 3 U.S. soldiers and injuring 2 others from the U.S. forces that are cooperating with Jordan in countering terrorism and securing the border, end quote. And I don't see, a lot of people are saying to me on Twitter that the U.S. is lying because, they don't want people to know about the illegal occupation of eastern Syria. But I mean, the U.S. is very shameless about their occupation of Syria. They don't care what, other people think about it. And I think, if anything, this is kind of more embarrassing for the U.S. that this thing is spilling out into another country, into Jordan. And Jordan, they have an interest in not appearing like they're supporting the Americans right now militarily. I've seen them deny these reports that say the U.S. has been supporting Israel from bases in Jordan. So Jordan doesn't want to appear like they're too close to the U.S. But so anyway, I think it looks like what the U.S. military, what Biden said was right, that it happened on the Jordanian side of the border. So now the response. How is Biden going to respond? This is the big question. There was a report in the New York Times last week that said, just like me, President Biden and his top aides, referring to Blinken and Sullivan, they believed that it was just a matter of time before an American soldier was killed. And that report said that if an American was killed, they would have no choice but to attack Iran directly, even though they certainly have plenty of more choices than that. So this is definitely a real concern that they attack Iran directly over this. Now, it's worth pointing out, this is very important, that there's no evidence Iran is involved in these attacks. Everywhere you read, they call these Shia militias that have been targeting the U.S. Iranian-backed. But the U.S. has said it has no evidence that Iran is directing these attacks. And there was a U.S. official told CNN a few months ago that it was always a persistent intelligence gap how much these groups operated independently, meaning that they don't know. So that's the thing is that they don't really know, but they're going to say Iran-backed, Iranian-backed, just to make it stick. And so I think there's a few possibilities here that Biden retaliates by targeting the Shia militias in Iraq or Syria again. He could respond by targeting Iranians, the IRGC in Iraq or Syria, or he could respond by bombing Iran directly. And I think either one, killing the Iranians in Iraq and Syria, or targeting Iran directly could mean full-blown war with Iran. So this is a very tense kind of time right now before Biden's response. I mean, it's not clear what he's going to do right now. But this thing could really escalate, could really explode. I wouldn't put it past him. I remember, I think it was 2019 when Iran downed an American drone, an unmanned drone in the Persian Gulf, pretty close to its territory. And Trump, his Pentagon drew up plans for them to bomb Iran, and they were going to do it, and Trump called it off at the last minute. So if they were going to bomb Iran over that, I'm sure that they're going to do it, that there's a probably strong push within the administration to target Iran directly.